I think that bizarrely, in a way, specialist finance has become a lot easier to access for brokers. So I think if you were to go back 7 years, you'd find that almost all of the business was going through packaging firms, that a lot of brokers felt intimidated or concerned about promoting bridging to their clients direct because they felt that they weren't qualified. I think now, literally today, we're obviously celebrating the fact that the certificate in specialist property is being brought out. There are qualifications that are obviously these are brand new, but the reality is that lenders have also opened their doors and made themselves more accessible to brokers. So I think that actually people have more confidence. In a bizarre sort of way, the most accessible area historically has been buy to let, and yet actually now it's harder work for a broker to get themselves a buy-to-let than it is to get themselves a bridge. Everybody is concerned about what is going to happen in the interest rates. Obviously, the changes that have happened so far are not enormous in long-term historical context, but they are dramatic given the post-2008 environment that we've been living in for these many years. Right, so I think everybody's interested about what will happen, and obviously in 2 days' time on Thursday, we are going to know whether there will be another rise or whether not. My personal sentiment is that we're close to a stability there, and I think that people seem to be pricing in actually some longer term, I'm talking about medium to longer term, so within the next 12 months some improvement actually in where the base rate is. So I think that's quite positive. I think that UK property market suffered from some extraordinarily negative forecasts, but actually so far we are seeing that underlying resilience, which we've seen throughout the pandemic, which we've seen really since the Brexit vote as well. Most recent numbers are showing that Lloyd's are saying that there was a 2.1% increase in property prices in February, which is on a 12-month basis. So that's obviously positive news in an otherwise troubled environment. I would say that the commercial space is more challenged in the current environment than the residential spaces. But I think that actually brings with it an opportunity for repurposing. The new Class E means that you can change what a building does without needing to get planning permission from a very wide variety of bases. We'll lend on anything that's within Class E. And in terms of repurposing commercial buildings, which I think is going to be incredibly important and is still important, hopefully that is viable and works, and can be something that can be beneficial, particularly with the shortage of housing that we've still got. It's so hard to get planning for new build. We have a lot of challenges in that side of things. In comparison to Europe, the UK has a much more challenged planning regulation environment, and it's actually estimated, I saw an estimate, that if we 10 years ago had a planning system more akin to other Western European nations, we would have 400,000 homes that would have been built in the last decade alone. It's very easy to sit in another chair and say what you would do in the Chancellor's position, but I think that the reality is that this consecutive set of governments have promised planning reform for about 10 years, 12 years now, and there has been basically no planning reform. I've got to be honest, there's far too much power held by individual interest groups. There's not enough accountability of planning authorities. I just think that we create too many obstacles, and those obstacles have a cost. Fundamentally believe that there are huge opportunities in the specialist finance sector. I think that UK property is incredibly resilient. I think that we're going to be seeing a massive amount of investment going into property in respect of the conversions that are going to need to occur to transform our letting market, which is becoming ever more important, from Class E, which is the minimum level requirement currently, and we're going to have in a very short period of time to have to transition to Class C. I think people underestimate estimate how much investment that is actually going to require. So that is something which the specialist market is going to have to step into. And I think there will be specialist refurbishment buy-to-let products that will come out. There will be bridge-to-let products similar to the ones that we have that will be very important for that process. So I do think that there are a lot of reasons to be optimistic, and I also think that what is surprising is that we've managed this massive interest rate transition without an enormous problem for the property industry overall. It has transitioned in a very brief period of time an enormous amount, and it will continue to be resilient in the future.